Gil Martin for Locked On NHL. The Vegas Golden Knights are one of the hottest teams in the league right now, and Tony Cordasco of Locked On Golden Knights joins us to talk about this team's recent hot start.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Gil Martin here. Welcome to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast. So glad you could join us, and thank you for making Locked On NHL your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Right now, it's my pleasure to welcome to the show Tony Cordasco. He is the host of Locked On Vegas Golden Knights, and the Golden Knights playing some very good hockey as of late. Tony, what has been the key to this team's recent success?
I think, and thanks for having me, Gil. I think their recent success, I have to give credit, first of all, to Pete DeBoer, because he's just had like different lines every night. At the start of the season, the bottom six was just a disaster, in my estimation. And every night he seems to put together just the right combinations, and he's pushing the right buttons. And I think it goes back to they were 1-4, and they started to more or less simplify everything that they did. Their approach became more simple, checking, forechecking, more forechecking. And I think after they lost to Toronto, to the Maple Leafs, which I thought was a pivotal game for them to see where they were at, and Toronto beat them down, and they couldn't get the puck into the O zone at all. I thought after that they just started to simplify things just a little bit more, and that's when they started to play better. And now they're starting to get some players back, so they could be even more dangerous, because Mark Stone came back last night and he had an assist on the Evgeny Dadonov goal. And just as they continue to get players back, I think they're going to be more lethal. I really do think that this team, it can only get better, and they've won 8 out of 10 now, which is really a surprise. And they're getting players like last night, Jake Leschyshyn, he scored his first goal, and rookies that are coming up from the AHL are contributing now on a nightly basis. And it's just you have to credit good coaching. I guess I don't know where else to turn.
Seems like they are getting offense from a lot of different sources right now.
Yeah, they truly are. Jonathan Marchessault last night, he's been in his zone. And that line, the misfit line, as we call it, they were the golden misfits, the players that no one wanted. And William Karlsson got injured, and he's out for 6 weeks, and now it's down to, I think, about 4 or so. And so when William Karlsson got injured, they really had no one, with Max Pacioretty out, Mark Stone already out, and a multitude of other injuries. And what they did was, for some reason, they didn't insert Nick Waugh on that line initially. And they finally decided, okay, DeBoer said, okay, let's try Waugh. And Waugh, I thought, was the most effective center that they had left, right? They didn't have much left. And when they finally put Nick Waugh into the lineup, they inserted him in. I thought that, things just changed. He was doing all the dirty work and digging the puck out of the corners, and then feeding Marchessault and feeding Riley Smith. And then they moved that second line, the misfit line, up to the top line. So now they're the number one line with everyone else injured. But it was really good to see Mark Stone back last night. It was him, and Stephenson was centering, and then they had Evgeny Dadonov. And Dadonov played his best game with a couple of goals, and one was on a Mark Stone assist. He played his best game because now he just lifted up his game, and they're just pushing the right buttons. It's hard to believe now that this team has won 8 out of 10. I was like, okay, just keep contact with the rest of the field until you have a full lineup, a full roster, and then you can start to make moves. But they're making moves a lot sooner, winning 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it's been a very good streak right now, and Chandler Stephenson really a big part of this team's offensive production.
Yeah, Chandler Stephenson. I think he goes unnoticed, within this system. He's the leading scorer still. I think, he's the leading scorer. And he's a guy that, again, is just, He's playing well no matter where they've put him. He just shows up workmanlike every night. And now with Stone back, sky's the limit, with that line. I'm going to be curious to see. It doesn't matter who the top line or second line is, whatever. They'll keep that line intact, of course, until Max Pacioretty comes back. And I was guessing because every day, we finally saw Mark Stone on the ice in the training camp and what have you, and like coming back this past week, the last couple of weeks, and skating with the team. And Peter DeBoer still said he's still a ways off. And I was like, no, I think he'll be back in the homestand. And then last night they inserted him into the lineup and he played well. He got off to a rough start. It was learning to skate again, I felt. But then he settled down, and just his presence, I think, makes the team, and as the captain, makes the team much better.
No question. One amazing statistic that jumped out at me, Vegas now 6th in the league in goals scored, but 27th in power play percentage, just a 14.7% success rate. What's going on with the power play, and how is this team able to be so productive offensively without an effective power play?
Yeah, well, the power play is what stunk at the start of the season, and they were 0 for 19, which tied a franchise record, a short franchise record. They were 0 for 19, I think, in their inaugural season, and their power play was so abysmal, it dated back to last season in the playoffs. I think they were like 0 for 36 at some point, with that streak dating back to last year. And so, again, they've just been working on it. It's just taken a lot of work. Like some of their power plays were just awful when they started 1-4. They weren't even getting shots on goal. They had like one shot on goal and several power play opportunities. They weren't moving the puck around. So they worked on it and they became more effective. And they scored last night in a 5-on-3. And so I think they're starting to come around. And I don't know what the stats are. I can't remember, but now they've moved up and they're not even in last place in the power play anymore. So they are just steadily like moving up, and they've capitalized on a lot of power play opportunities of late. They're getting better.
Well, always a key to success in this league, no doubt. Talk to me a little bit about Robyn Lehner. Always been a favorite of mine for some of the things he's accomplished off the ice and his stellar play on it. Also a little bit of a slow start this year. How is he doing as of late?
Oh, as of late, he's on fire. And, last night he gave up 3 goals, or was it 4 goals? But, the thing about Lehner was a lot of his misfortunes early this season were due to the fact that there were odd man rushes aplenty against him. So he's facing breakaways and he's facing 3-on-2s and he was getting frustrated, I think, in the first 5 games in net. And as the defense got better in front of him, again, they just simplified everything. They started to do the forechecking has helped them, on the offensive end. And now they're starting to clog up the center of the ice. And again, through neutral ice, I think their checking has been a lot better of late. But a lot of his misfortune early on was due to the fact that they were just letting up so many odd man opportunities and chances in front of him. And I've noticed as well, because he's so big, and what he does is now he's coming out of net a little bit more, because he was getting beaten on a lot of sharp angle goals as well. And so he's coming out of net a little bit more. One thing is he's just so big, right? And he's like a lumbering goaltender. And I was watching one game where he fell down and it took him a while to get back up because he's just so big. And when he's tired late in games, I think, it wears on him. And those bigger goalies, I think, get injured more frequently. But he's definitely now playing better. They've settled down in front of him. He likes what they're doing, clearing the puck in front of the net. I think everyone's they're getting continuity, I think, defensively, and I think that's helping him a lot. So he's playing well. He's definitely playing well. He's become a team leader, and we know off the ice everything that he's done. To talk about the struggles with mental illness, and he's just become a team leader in Las Vegas. They love him here.
Yeah, no, they loved him on Long Island for the one season he was here as well. Today's episode is brought to you by DirecTV Stream. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows. You're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbors, best friends log in for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. So, Tony, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find you on social media and where they could find your podcast?
At Locked On VGK, Golden Knights, of course, Vegas Golden Knights, and at Tony Dasco, where there's a lot of shenanigans there. Maybe you don't want to see that. For adult audiences only. No, it's mostly sports. It's mostly sports related.
Sounds good. Tony, thank you so much for doing this, and always a pleasure to talk to you.
Gil, appreciate it. Thank you. And go Michigan, I guess, and go Islanders.